I'm restless as fuck tonight, so I guess we're doing this again. It's late Tuesday night, technically Wednesday morning. About clock says 2:17 on the dashboard. It's sometimes a minute or two behind though. Gosh, what's up? Really nothing since the last one. Although I'm a couple days, I don't know, I think about 2 or 3 days behind on uploading these versus filming them. So, yeah, it's, so that knows when I'll actually get around to uploading this one, because the uploads seem to take a while on my Wi-Fi for some reason. And yeah, after that nearly month I went without mobile internet, I no longer upload them if I'm not on Wi-Fi. So there's that. Speaking of not being able to upload on Wi-Fi, I keep forgetting to take care of this. I forgot my password for Cox mobile Wi-Fi, or mobile hotspot, I guess it's called. And for those who aren't familiar, if you have Cox broadband internet, I'm not sure if it comes with all their internet packages, but I know it comes with mine. You're able to use Cox hotspots all over the valley. To be honest, I don't even know it's limited all over the valley. It could be all over the country for all I know. But anyway, it'll show up on your mobile phone. You do a search, it'll say Cox Wi-Fi or something along those lines, and you log in, and it brings you to a login screen, and you put in your username and your password. And I do believe I remember my username, but I forgot my password, and I forgot my password a couple of times. And while their customer service isn't quite the impossible situation of password recovery that the Apple iCloud or that Google can be, it's tedious, to put it mildly. Especially if you're on a mobile device, because they pretty much expect you to have some other device with internet. It's like, yeah, God knows I carry so many mobile devices with internet access. That's why I'm on the phone with you people. Anyway, yeah, so I've been mentioning the whole saga of dropping my phone a while back and it breaking in half and it not being repairable, which means I lost a bunch of my data on it. And I had my photos backed up on iCloud and a lot of things backed up on the Google Cloud. And of course, I'm using web-based email, both Gmail and Yahoo. So, those are all still there. It's server-based, whatever. But I keep a lot of data in text messages. And I think I've mentioned this on my vlogs before. I just haven't really gotten used to the routine of saving contacts in my phone. So I'll just leave them in my inbox, just under the phone number. And those will be in chronological reverse order. And while I might not remember somebody's name, because I'm really bad with names, that's another reason why I often don't save contacts, because it ends up being under name and I don't remember their name, so that's useless. While I won't remember their name, and I won't remember the procedure to save their contact in my iPhone, I will remember when we were last chatting, via text messages. I'm oddly good at remembering that. Go figure. And I'll open those. It's like, well, I think this is roughly the last time we were chatting, and I'm going back, backwards chronologically by date, and I'll hit. And sometimes I see other conversations and that wasn't the conversation I was looking for, but it's like, oh, yeah, I remember this person. And I might scroll backwards to see the text, might remember what their name was. Or sometimes I'll look at the text and I'll be like, oh, yeah, that's Nick. Okay, cool. And I might just shoot them a message, just say hi. Hey, it's like, because other words, I'm not thinking of them. It's not like I don't care about them or don't want to think about them. I just don't. And all this rambling probably sounds really incoherent to a lot of people. I've been going back and reviewing some of my vlogs, and it's just like, yeah, God, I just sound absolutely insane, which, that's, I guess it's some justification for receiving SMI benefits for so long and still receiving a minor amount of benefits now. But I've been watching a lot of videos and reading some articles about autism and more specifically the autism spectrum, Asperger's, and what would be considered high-functioning autism. And while I've never been diagnosed with that, the more I read and the more vlogs I read, the more it resonates with just me and my mind, how my mind works, and issues I've had my entire life, just coping with life, relationships, society. I mean, when I started this vlog series, I started it because I was struggling with short-term memory to the point where I couldn't remember what I had done 20 minutes ago or an hour ago or what I would find myself in a part of town and I couldn't remember why I was there. So I would, it gave me a point of reference to look back and say, well, what was I talking about? And that would jar my memory of, oh yeah, I was working on this, whatever this was at that point in time. And I get back on track. And I find like I've always kind of been that way, just sometimes it's more extreme than other times. And I guess that's why the looking back, like I look back at things that I did well and things that I didn't do well in life, and it's so funny. Like I will have this just, I have so little contact with people that are actually, I'm living with Priscilla, and sometimes we go days without speaking, and then when we do, it's not very friendly. And a lot of that stems from the fact that I'm in this horrible conundrum where she's still invading my space, and I'm really not happy about it. And then now it's gotten to the point where I'm also financially dependent on her because that space is beyond my means without her help. So it's not a spot I want to be in. In fact, it's a spot I've been in the past, and it's always led to otherwise good relationships breaking up because I'm not. I just feel like a lot less of a man if I'm a quote-unquote dependent boyfriend. I haven't been one for a very, very long time, and it's not doing good things to my psyche, to say the least. Okay, random ADD moment. Tall structure up ahead on the left there. It's now, I forget what the hell it's called now. Here's another symptom of autism. I really struggle with places when the names change, because in my mind, that will always be, now I'm struggling to remember what it was. That'll always be Good Samaritan Hospital. And it's not called that anymore. Now it's University Medical Center or something. But I mean, that weird tower, and you can't see, it's out of the view of my camera now, but it looks like some kind of something from a science fiction movie. That's always been Good Samaritan Hospital. In my head, it'll always be Good Samaritan Hospital. Yeah, so that's where Lily was born. I talking about? Oh, so yeah, I started this vlog because I was having like some severe memory issues, and now I'm to the point where I feel like I'm more normal. I mean, my depression has been a lot more than normal, and my social insecurities have certainly been more than normal recently. But I mean, I would say all in all, my just coping skills and overall like mental health has been better. It's been kind of at a normal level. So anyway, I've been reading a bunch of articles, watching a bunch of videos about high functioning autism. Well, I've never had that diagnosis or anything like Asperger's, anything on the autism spectrum. It is worth noting that diagnosing mental health disorders is not really an exact science. It's not like physical ailments where, you know, oh, your blood level is this, and with this, you know, oh, well, we can diagnose a broken bone because see the x-ray, there's a broken bone, you know, that sort of thing. It's like doctors are trying to make diagnoses, and I'm trying to convey this as a person who's a high school dropout, so please bear with me. The psychiatrists are trying to make diagnoses based upon physical symptoms, you know, symptoms that they're seeing, mannerisms and behaviors, and speech patterns, and also, you know, by asking you questions, the answers you give. But you know, how honest are people with answers? I mean, I try to be, but you know, I mean, my mind runs the gamut. I mean, different situations. Say you're in a job interview, and your potential employer, who's offering you a job that you genuinely want, asks, do you have reliable transportation to work? Regardless of whether or not you have reliable transportation to work, you're going to say yes, because you want that job, and then do your damnedest to figure out your work transportation. At least I think that's what most people will do. I'm not as good at that kind of lying, but I will generally, you know, I have a tendency to over answer questions. In fact, I think that's where I struggle a lot with you know, well, with just most everybody, and so I'm reading that's a symptom of that's a autism spectrum disorder. You know, when somebody asks a question, you know, kind of like, I mean, my gosh, so many people are like, how are you doing, as a greeting, and like I understand that's a greeting, but sometimes that just it slips by me, and I think they actually want to know how I'm doing. I should know better. Nobody gives a fuck how I'm doing. I should know that by now. But you know, sometimes I start to answer that, and that can be a really negative thing, because quite often I'm just not doing so well. At least not recently. Of course, you know, in other situations, I miss the cue that that's just a greeting, but I realize they don't want to hear how bad I'm doing, so I lie and tell them I'm doing fabulous, which is, you know, that's another thing entirely. So back to psychiatrists trying to diagnose, you know, mental illnesses. Yeah, so I've had several different diagnoses. That's the plural of diagnoses. The two that have been consistent, and at this point I wonder how often is that just a psychiatrist evaluating my mannerisms and symptoms, and my, you know, and then me asking the things I'm, you know, questions they're asking, my responses. How much is that at this point them analyzing that, and how much of that is them how much of that is them is them just looking at my file and going, oh, well, he's already got a diagnosis of Here we see bipolar disorder axis 2. You think I would know what that means, right? I think that's it. I might even be recording the wrong thing. And so that's one I see on my paper a lot. And the other one that's almost always present is schizoaffective disorder. But I've certainly had some that have said, full-blown schizophrenia. I don't believe I've ever been diagnosed with ADD, but then that's a thing that's generally attributed to children, not adults. But I mean, my God, if I could get a copy of the DSM-4 and go through loads of disorders and probably find symptoms that that I could self-diagnose myself as, but how relevant is that, right? But anyway, a lot of the stuff that they're saying, is symptomatic of being on the autism spectrum is things I've been battling with my entire life. And anyway, so I've been watching quite a few videos on the subject. And credit where credit is due. It's actually my daughter Allison who got me kind of on this whole thought process. When she was in the hospital, she had told me that she felt that she was autistic. And of course, my response is, my immediate knee-jerk response is, no, you're not. And that comes from, that was coming from a place of general lack of knowledge, where I'm thinking, where my first thought of quote-unquote autistic was the kid that was in her high school when she was going to Red Mountain High School. When I go into the office to see her, the kid that would be wearing the hunting ear muffs, the soundproof hunting ear muffs, that would be walking all erratically like Igor from the Frankenstein movies, and when somebody would try to communicate with him, would go start screeching, So that was my thought of autism. And granted, I mean, there are some autistic people in my life that one who actually, I remember when he told me that he had been, and I'm going to say he was around probably his late 30s when he was diagnosed with Asperger's, and he kind of came to me with that. And, to be honest, I never really thought of him as having any kind of mental illness, and I don't, he's not what I think of when I think of it as autism, but I do remember when he told me he was diagnosed with that. And he seemed really distraught, and he's like, well, now I feel like I understand why I can't keep a girlfriend and people don't like me. And I'm like, and my response is I like you. And he's actually, of all the people who have come to my karaoke shows over the year, he's someone whose name I can remember. I'm just not saying it to respect his privacy, and that's something I'm not so good at. And I was not just saying that to try to make him feel better. I mean, legitimately, he's one of the people that I really, really like. I feel like when I communicate with him, like that we connect. I feel like I connect better to him, and now I'm thinking, well, God, maybe that's just because we both are, we're both in the same similar places, neurologically, in terms of autism spectrum, and that things that he says, that ways that he communicates that maybe throw other people off, like that don't throw me off, because it makes sense to me. I don't know. It's hard to say, but certainly I've been going through a lot of soul searching in the last week as to why when I thought things were going so well at Jay's Cocktails, the owner's telling me that she gets loads and loads of complaints about me, and I wish they were in writing. honestly. I mean, oh, and I read that's another thing, another sign of autism. If you struggle with stuff, if you can't see it in writing, and I do, I really do struggle with stuff when I don't see it in writing. But yeah, if they were in writing, it'd certainly be a lot easier for me to deal with, because the other stuff kind of gets lost in my head. But saying that I don't play people's requests, or that I don't let them sing. But I've noticed that, and this is something I see frequently, just for me as a karaoke host, is that somebody will come up and they'll ask for a song, and I have a pretty reasonable grasp of what I do and I don't have in my karaoke library, in spite of its vast size. And on that note, I'm at about 40,000 different catalog songs, and it'd be safe to say I'm probably at also that many uncatalogued songs. Catalog songs I'm very familiar with, somewhat familiar with what I have, because I've cataloged it. And when I type it, when I research it, when I listen to it, and because I do all my file naming manually, because I do that all completely manually, it sticks in my head better. Like, I'm like, oh yeah, I have that. Even if it's nothing more than, yeah, that sounds familiar, I think I have that. If I don't, I'll let you know. And I guess some people are really thrown by that. Well, do you have it or don't? You're asking me to remember a lot, dude. And that's the thing I always tell people, just assume I got everything. Assume I can get everything. If I don't, I'll let you know. But every now and then someone will come up and they'll say something, and I'm like, yeah, I'm going to say I don't have that. Well, how do you know? Well, because I have no clue what that is, and if I had it, then I would have a clue what it is. And people look at me funny, like that response doesn't make sense to them. And another thing that Kat has said is that people have been saying, well, that you're rude and that you're arrogant, and I'm reading in a lot of like especially comments on YouTube under autism-related videos, particularly Asperger's related videos and high-functioning autism-related videos, that people are like, you know, that's a common thing, that they struggle because people think they're rude or they're arrogant, and it's just how they respond. And I'm not trying to be either rude or arrogant. I'm just trying to give an honest, helpful response. You know, that being that I don't know what their song is. I'm going to assume I don't have it because I've never heard of it. But I'll look for it. Probably you're gonna, and I'll tell people, probably if you're wanting to sing right away, you should probably pick out another song. But I'll look for that. I'll see what I can do. And then I've watched them go back to their table and then tell somebody else, oh, he won't let me sing. And I've seen that happen so many times. He won't let me sing. I didn't say that. I've never said that. Oh, let me take that back. I've said that to a couple of people who have been physically abusive to my microphones, such as deliberately throwing them down on the stage. Yeah, you physically damage my equipment, I'm not going to let you sing. And I'd certainly prefer bars that just straight up kick people out for doing that, because seriously, if you're damaging equipment in a bar, you need to go. That's just two cops I saw go through that intersection. I am in a bad part of town now. And, gosh, I've not been paying any attention to where I am. I'm just kind of driving on autopilot, which I considered one of my best skills. Oh gosh, that's another subject of YouTube videos I've been watching a lot lately, is urban planning stuff, and particularly stuff with an lots of cops over there. Stuff with an anti-cop, or sorry, not anti-cop, a lot of that too, but with a anti-car lane. Car culture in America is a terrible, terrible thing, and we need more walkable infrastructure, and blah, 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 blah. And it's funny because I come from, Phoenix is my baseline for normal. And I've been to enough other places to realize the Phoenix metro area is not normal. In fact, on a scale of 1 to 10 car culture, 10 being extreme car culture, and 1 being completely pedestrian. I think Phoenix maybe gets an 11 or a 12. And there are parts of it that are changing, and there are parts of it that have been pedestrian friendly for sure. But the valley as a whole, it's very car centric. And sometimes I get in these conversations with people on YouTube and also on Reddit on the subject, and if they're European, they just have no perspective. And granted, I only have like, my perspective on their reality is just based on videos I've seen and maps I've looked at. But I can take 2 maps and scale them the same size and realize that the entire Phoenix metro area is larger than the country they're in. You know, it's like, oh, well, freeways should just go from city to city, and then when you're in the city, you shouldn't have to do that by car. I'm like, dude, my city is bigger than your country, with much of which has less density than what you consider to be rural areas, and they have no perspective of that. And if nothing else, I hope people watching my videos, yeah, you might have fun with my videos, just watching them at like whatever the highest speed you can crank them up on YouTube, and not listening to me and just watching the drive along ones I've done, because it give you a concept of how large Phoenix is. And for me, as somebody who's spent so many hours behind the wheel, especially in 19 years as a taxi driver, and just other years of, you know, jobs that involve a lot of driving, and then me being like this, and sometimes just driving to clear my head, because driving is so stressful. It'd be great if I didn't have to drive. Oh my Lord, I become very difficult to be around if I go through too long of a period of time where I don't have access to a car that I'm comfortable to drive in. Because yeah, like this is my safe space. To be honest, of all the realities I'm in right now, and girlfriend was kind of upset when I left, and she probably thinks I'm out. God knows what she thinks I'm out doing. You know, probably thinks I got a booty call. And maybe I did, but no, it's with her sex drive dropping down to 0. Being in bed with her is not very comfortable, especially if she's gassy, which seems to be more often than not. You know, Home is not a comfortable place for me right now, 90% of the time, unless I'm in my bed alone, just basically bonding with my cats and my iPhone, or she's either crashed out in the bed, or she's at her desk doing her work from home job, her customer support work from home job. When she's doing that, and then I could be in the living room, or I could be actually anywhere in the apartment, just kind of doing my own thing, whether that is cataloging my music on Discogs, or working on my eBay stuff, or even trying to deal with the mess and the recycling in the kitchen, or lately trying to spend more time at my computer working on my music libraries for my karaoke and DJ stuff. Even though I'm down to just a couple shows, a couple one-offs beyond one day a week. That one day a week I do feel is going well. Although, as bad as I am at misreading people, I might be reading those signs completely wrong too. I really, it hurts me. I don't know, but I feel like people genuinely like what I'm doing at Bullets, and I'm certainly putting my all into it. But still, while working on my karaoke music library, I'm still trying to be, and my video library and my music library, I'm trying to work in all directions at once, so that I'm ready for whatever my next gig is, and whatever the next song somebody asks for, no matter what genre of music it is. I'm going in so many directions at once and not holding to one subject at all, which is typical of me. I've read that that's a symptom of bipolar disorder and also schizoaffective disorder, but it also seems to be something that's very autism. Now, one thing that my daughter sent me that was very much like with people, that's very, for people on the high functioning on the autism spectrum, is when people will focus on something and they'll get 100% into it, and I feel like that's where I've been, like, that's just my blessing and my curse. I mean, right now my focus is just rambling aimlessly and trying to capture my thoughts onto this video, onto this vlog. But my secondary thing is I'm just, I've got my music on. It's at a low volume enough that I'm kind of half paying attention to it. I did notice Tupac Hail Mary playing. That didn't escape me. Enjoyed that. Not really focused on that though. And I'm just driving. I'm driving westbound. I'm on McDowell Road. I honestly cannot tell you how far west I am right now. I have not been paying attention. I don't feel that makes me an unsafe driver. Okay, I know exactly where I am now. That's the old Kmart on the left. It's a hollowed out shell. So I am in Tolleson. That is, if memory serves, that Tolleson city limits to the south. That Kmart was in Tolleson, and I think that's why the road to the south is very undeveloped, because that's Tolleson, and it's different than Phoenix, and the north side of the road here is still Phoenix. I did see I just saw out of my peripheral vision a Phoenix Street sign on the right. So that's going to mean that this light is 91st Avenue. And I've mentioned before, my vision is not very good anymore, so I generally can't read the street signs. Yeah, I'm definitely at 91st Avenue. I can kind of see the sign. It's a little blurry and it's not very reflective, but I can see it. So, yeah, it doesn't take me long to get my bearings. I just was merely driving west and not paying attention. Well, somebody just crossed as a pedestrian directly behind me. Hang on, I need to keep an eye on that person. I do not want to be carjacked tonight, and that sort of thing does happen out here. Looks like he's walking into the Circle K. So anyway, where was I? So driving. Yeah, for me, driving is such a comfort zone thing for me. Like, I can multitask driving amongst other things that would be very ill-advised for neurotypical people. That some people would be like, oh my lord, you should never do that, that's distracted driving. I can drive on a subconscious level, and I'm very confident in my skill to do that. I don't really understand how I do it, but it's something I've been doing for so long that it's a couple steps beyond breathing for me. And it comes a lot easier to me than having a conversation with somebody. So, anyway, so this entire time I've been driving westbound on McDowell. I live reasonably near McDowell, so when I came out of my neighborhood, I turned right, and I'm still driving on McDowell. And back to the subject of city planning and why public transit is not very functional in the city of Phoenix, and walkability is just a laughable joke. Never mind the fact that it's been like above 115 degrees every day for like the last week, and then it's what's forecasted for the next week. So walking is actually something that's physically like dangerous. Like literally people die from heat stroke here all the fucking time this time of year. But yeah, the distances are absolutely huge here. I've been driving on McDowell Road, which is a surface street. It's one of the major service streets here, or as some of the people in the planning videos, city planning videos, like to call it, a stroad. That road cracks me up, or that word cracks me up. But it's I get what it means, and McDowell is most certainly a stroad. In fact, McDowell Road should probably be the textbook example for a stroad. Although the majority of the arterial street system in Phoenix certainly qualifies as what people refer to as stroads. It's not a highway, although I am aware a certain portion of it is considered an MC dot roadway, which means it's maintained by the Maricopa County Department of Transportation, as opposed to just the city it's running through. Now, I'm pretty sure all of it I've been driving on is cared for by various municipalities, of which I think I'm in Avondale. I went through Tolleson. Tolleson's tiny. Yeah, that's an Avondale Street sign. I've explained this to people, how I can tell what city I'm in. Talking about autistic discussions. Cab drivers find it fascinating. Uber drivers, Lyft drivers are like, wait, what? Explain that to me again. And then they've come back, and I've had conversations with them later, and they've been like, oh my God, Dan, that was like the most helpful thing ever. I've never noticed it. Thank you for that. But yeah, like I learned when I was a young child to tell, and this is me talking about that I have these kind of symptoms going back to early childhood, that I could tell what city I was in based on what color the street signs were. And I remember as a little kid, I'm talking like 3 and 4 years old, asking my parents and my grandparents, well, what did it mean? What does it mean that street sign is green? What does it mean that street sign is brown? And then them looking at me and saying, well, I don't know. Like they'd never noticed that. Like they'd never noticed in some places it's brown, and in some places it's green, and in some places it's white. Like they never noticed. And of course, I was very keenly aware of that. Yeah. So anyway, back to this road. Yeah, so I'm definitely in the technical suburbs now. Now, it's kind of funny what people define as city and suburbs, because even Phoenix doesn't meet that mold very well. Most of what is the city of Phoenix proper would be what people define as a suburb, but it's city of Phoenix proper. But Phoenix has numerous suburbs, and I'm in one of them. Pretty sure I'm in Avondale. The far Southwest Valley, which is kind of where I'm at now, I'm not as familiar with these. I never really worked them a lot as a cab driver, and they've developed a lot since I was a cab driver. So it's not really a part of my life coming out here. So every time I come out here, it's changed a lot since the last time, and the boundaries of what has been incorporated by different municipalities, they change. I think I'm still in Avondale. So anyway, I'm still driving west on McDowell Road, and I can see the timer on my phone. I have been rambling incoherently and driving for 39 minutes. And I am still driving westbound on McDowell Road. I don't know if the bus goes this far. I think it does. In fact, I think it might be one continuous bus route all the way from my place to here. But if it is, that 39 minutes, which is quite a long drive, and mind you, that's 39 minutes at 3 in the morning when there's no traffic. On a bus, assuming the bus even goes this far, I would ballpark that as about 2 hours. That's 2 hours on one bus no transfers. So, yeah, any question why public transit's just not really a solution. And the light rail in Phoenix, I am aware there are places that have high-speed rail, or no, I say high-speed rail, I don't mean like maglev. I mean like regional rail systems. It wouldn't even be considered high-speed rail, but even like something like, say, the light rail that Denver has. Phoenix doesn't have that. Phoenix has light rail at street level, and it stops almost as frequently as buses do. So it's honestly, it's really not that much more efficient than the buses are. I do use it. I do appreciate it, but it's not quicker, really, but a whole lot quicker than riding a bus. Anyway, now there's a lot quicker ways to get down McDowell than driving down McDowell. All right, now I'm at 41 minutes, and I am at 136th Drive. Drive basically is an avenue in Phoenix, but it's not an avenue. Drives are between avenues. Reminds me of another conversation I had with somebody on a urban planning video where he was talking about, streets and avenues, and I'm like, what you say confuses me. Everybody knows streets are on the east side and avenues are on the west side, and the streets are definitely better. And he was talking about how avenues were such a great thing. And I'm sure the guy had nothing to do with Phoenix, and I kind of know what he was hinting at, but it was like, I saw a video, I think it was on City Beautiful, someone on a YouTube channel, I'm thinking it was City Beautiful, that explained what the different what the different suffixes on roads mean, as like what the difference is between a road and a street and a drive and a boulevard and an avenue. And it's like, yeah, those rules do not apply to Phoenix at all. They absolutely do not. Generally, they are just those suffixes are used just haphazardly wherever they're used for consistency to place value. McDowell Road, I think it qualifies as a road. I think it's more of a stroad now that that's a thing, but it could have just as easily been named McDowell Way or McDowell Drive, and it would still, it just means 1600 north. That's what that means. Oh yeah, every street has a numeric value. That's how I navigate. I've tried to explain that to a lot of people, and most people's eyes glaze over when I try to explain it, but that is how I navigate. By the way, this is Bullard Avenue, and I used to know the numbers out this far west, but I forget them. Oh, I can see it now. 14700 west. So if that was a numbered avenue, it'd be 147th Avenue. Notice it's Bullard Road. I don't know why it's called road, because it's not called street or drive or parkway. Yeah, in Phoenix, numbered, and this generally applies to numbered avenues are to the west, streets are to the east of Central Avenue. And then there's two additional suffixes that are used because the avenues are almost, and the streets are almost exactly 1/8 of a mile apart. And sometimes you need streets that are closer to, residential streets that are closer together than 1/8 of a mile. So when you're going west, it's avenue, followed by drive, followed by lane, followed by the next avenue. Going east, it will be street, followed by place, followed by way. Every now and then, just to fuck with people, there will be a court. And I've noticed those on the east side and the west side. So, yeah, that's helpful. Although I have noticed that once one of those has been used, it has been designated. Like when you look in the street guide, the Wide World of Map street guide, it is designated. like just pulling one out of my ass, and I don't know if this even exists, but like 37th Court, if it has happened on the east side, When you look up 37th Court, it'll tell you 3700 East. And some of them will tell you, but once a court has been designated as being East, there won't be a 37th Court on the west side. Like it's already designated as East. So courts can be confusing. Fortunately, there are very few of them, very few numbered courts in the valley. And God, where was I going with this? Absolutely nowhere. I was going west. That's where I'm going. Still 45 minutes of driving. Now, this is a ridiculous drive, especially at 3 in the morning. By the way, I'm speeding, just for the record. I'm doing 55. I would assume the speed limit here is probably 45. It might be 50. But I'm doing a speed that's reasonable, and I didn't even know what speed I was doing until I looked at the speedometer. I literally do this subconsciously. I just know what speed feels right anywhere in Phoenix from experience in driving here. I'm passing Sarville Avenue. I think that's 150, 300? That don't sound right. Oh, it had to be 160, 300. I have noticed there's definitely a numerical pattern. When you get into the 100s, the even mile major roads share the same numbers as the half mile minor thoroughfares on the 2-digit ones on the way out. So like 63rd Avenue, like 55th Avenue, 63rd Avenue, they're half mile designated roads. As you're going further out, 155th and 163rd, those are going to be major ones. Okay, I can see a big intersection coming up on the left. I don't know if y'all can see that on my video, but I'm about to cross Loop 303, so I am very west. And I also might be low on gas. My gas gauge is very difficult to read. The backlighting is out, so I can see the gauge. I can see it's low, but I can't see where it is on the gauge. But I do believe it's time for me to get some gas. Anyway, I am crossing Loop. Whoa, what the hell is this? I wasn't prepared for that. Cotton Lane. And it looks like in quite a few areas, Cotton Lane is functionally the frontage road for Loop 303, but not always. Now, Cotton Lane was a major arterial street long before Loop 303 was ever thought of. I forget its numeric value. When I learned those arterial streets, particularly Cotton Lane, that was all rural. That was all very rural. It was all mostly agricultural fields and open desert. A few random rural neighborhoods, but I would still get out here as a cab driver, particularly running vouchers when I was working for AAA and also for Yellow, non-emergency medical vouchers. In some of these little neighborhoods, they were farming communities. They're mostly Mexican field workers that would live in these houses, and they're very, very poor people. A lot of them were on Access, and I was driving non-emergency medical vouchers for Access. And finally, I've hit the first rural four-way stop. Finally. I mean, we're still very much in the Phoenix metro area. Don't let the darkness. Oh no. Okay, my battery light just went on. As much as I want to keep going on McDowell, I'm thinking I need to get gas. I was really enjoying that journey, but I really need to get gas. I feel like I'm low on gas, and running out of gas out here would not be a good idea. So 48 minutes of straight driving down McDowell got me to Citrus. Oh man, I might have fucked myself out of gas again. My battery light is coming on, which generally only happens when the car stalls out. It's coming on, coming off, coming on, coming off. That's cause for concern. I very recently got a new interstate battery, so definitely it's still under warranty. I need to swing by, if I can remember to do it, I need to swing by Costco and have them check that. Yeah, it just came on again. On that note, I need to get myself some gas. and get myself some food and beverage and quit this vlog, which has gone on way longer than anybody will ever watch it, and get my ass home before I find myself stranded because I don't have power in my car. In fact, now I'm kind of concerned I may end up having to get a jump start, but I don't have a choice of not turning the car off because it's dangerous to leave your car idling while you're it's a stop sign. It certainly is. Oh man. Alright, I'm on the I-10 frontage road, and this is saying Citrus Avenue. Actually, this is northbound frontage road, which is functionally Citrus Avenue for Loop 303. It's kind of interesting how they got the frontage roads crossing underneath that big intersection. I've never driven down under here before, so that's the first time I've seen that. It's pretty neat. I really miss being a cab driver and driving in areas that I don't drive in every day, because I miss getting to see new development like this, and I really enjoy it. I have a really photographic memory for places, so this is all going to be committed to memory. Next time I drive through here, it'll be pretty. The autopilot will be golden. Anyway, I was really enjoying going west on McDowell, and I was actually looking forward to keeping this video going until I ran out of McDowell, which the last time I checked happens right before you get to Verado. But yeah, I don't think I have enough fuel to do that, and my battery light's coming on, which is a little bit disconcerting. So I need to not be in the middle of nowhere in case the car does decide to stop running. Oh. And now it's Sarviel, and I don't see any development north or south of the freeway. Yeah, go ahead and cut me off there, dude. Classic Phoenix driver maneuver. Yeah, I can turn right on red. Doesn't matter, that guy got a green light. But that's alright. I drive defensively and expect people are going to do shit like that, so not a big deal. No point road raging about it. Alright, my access road is ending here, so good to know. Access road ends at Sarviel while going eastbound onto I-10. So anyways, I was saying, like, it would not be normal to drive that far west on McDowell. I'm not going to take this next exit because it doesn't look like there's going to be any open gas station there. And I'm running out of lane. Yeah, most of McDowell parallels Loop 202 up until the point that it parallels I-10, and then it pretty much parallels I-10 until it ends, roughly a quarter mile to a half mile north. So, yeah, it was really unusual to drive that far down McDowell, unless the I-10 is absolute gridlock or there's an accident on it. You'd get on I-10. And the normal speed on I-10 tends to be around 80 miles an hour. I mean, obviously not during, gridlock traffic, peak out, rush hour, but like right now I'm doing 70 and I'm getting left behind. So as I recall, I think I was at about 45 minutes of driving down McDowell to get where I was. And mind you, that was not as I was saying, even though it was looking very rural, that was not the end of the Phoenix metro area. If I was to keep driving, we would hit more housing developments. If memory serves, that stretch of McDowell Road does end in a housing development which is disconnected from Verado, and there is a drainage canal that goes north and south that it doesn't, McDowell does not have a bridge to cross, but it's possible to cross it as pedestrian. And then on the other side of that drainage canal, there is a dirt road, which of course would be McDowell Road, that continues on west. I've never driven on that, and I don't know, like, if I get onto that, how much farther it would go or where that goes. I was kind of down for that adventure tonight, but my battery light is saying on constantly, which tells me I need to get my ass home and get my battery checked. So, dang, I can't believe it. It's probably my alternator. This battery's brand frickin' new. I don't believe I've ever changed the alternator on this car. I do not see what looks like a gas station to the south. You know, when I became a cab driver, I had notably better, my optometrist called, well, when I was married, my optometrist, first time I got a proper eye test, right after Allison was born, it was on my wife's medical insurance. We all were, we had family policy. So vision coverage, and we all got our eyes checked. Mostly went in, you know, Allison was a newborn, and it's important to get, you know, if you have a newborn baby, get your baby's eyes checked. That's important. Also, Daniela had very bad vision, so she would have to get her eyes checked and often get her lenses prescription adjusted regularly. So, I mean, it was definitely time for that as well. But, you know, I'm on the policy, so what the hell, check my eyes. And Danielle ended up being late for work because the regular eye checks didn't show what my vision was, because my vision was off the charts. I mean, literally, that's not even a pun. Not even, it's like, it was literally off the charts. I went as far as his charts went, and I'm down to the small things on his charts, and I can read them clearly. And meanwhile, he's just like, whoa. So he had to basically go get other testing stuff to further test my vision. And I forget what numbers he came up with, what it was, 20 something. But at any rate, it was like, well, what does that mean, Doc? And he goes, well, means you've functionally got Superman vision. You can see things. And I didn't know this. You know, I mean, I've always known that I had good vision, and I'm aware that I often saw things that other people said they didn't see. I mean, won't see it? No, I don't see that. Yeah, I can't see through somebody else's eyes. I don't know what their experience is, but I do mow my, yeah, so it's like, wow, that's why I do so well as a cab driver. That's why I read street signs in the dark from a quarter mile away. I thought everybody could do that. So that's kind of funny, but he did tell me, he's like, you know, the downside of that is when you get into your 40s, you're going to start losing your vision in a big way. As it may result in total blindness, or you may just, you know, really need glasses. But your eyes are being overstimulated now, and that will cause you severe vision problems in the future. And yeah, my vision's been getting progressively worse. And actually, I still had really good vision at 40. I had remarkably good vision at 40. It started hitting in my late 40s, but certainly since I've, you know, been 50, it's been notably bad. And my saving grace on driving is that vehicles are big, and driving is literally a second nature, subconscious thing for me. And I'm sure these vlogs have shown that the way I navigate, I don't really need to see street signs all that often. Most of the time I can look at a landmark, or I just know by how far I've driven where I'm at. Anyway, I can't believe you bear with this for 58 minutes. It is time for me to put some fuel in my car and put some food in my belly. And I may do another one. I'm enjoying this. But probably not. I think I need to pay attention to what's going on with my battery light coming on. Anyway, thanks for watching.